Planning an overseas trip in 2026? If you're on the age pension, listen up, because that dream holiday could actually cost you thousands of dollars, not because of what you spend, but because of how Centrelink changes your payments when you leave Australia. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happens to your age pension when you travel overseas in 2026. We'll look at 3 real scenarios using our detailed calculator, and I'll show you the exact dates when your payments start to change. First, let's understand our case study. Meet Margaret. She's 68 years old, and she's worked in Australia for 420 months. That's 35 years. Her current age pension looks like this. That's about $610 per week. Now, Margaret wants to travel. But here's the critical question. Does she know the 6-week and 26-week rules? Rule number 1. You can travel overseas for up to 6 weeks without any pension reduction. That's 42 days. Let's look at scenario 1, a short trip. Departure, March 1st, 2026. Return, March 29th, 2026. Days overseas, 28. Weeks overseas, 4. Since this is under 6 weeks, Margaret receives her full pension for the entire trip, no reduction. The calculator confirms no reduction for trips under 6 weeks. Now, scenario 2 is where things get interesting. Margaret decides to extend her trip to 10 weeks. Departure, March 1st, 2026. Return, May 10th, 2026. Days overseas, 70. Weeks overseas, 10. Watch what happens. The calculator shows exceeds 6 weeks? Yes. And here's where the money changes. For the first 6 weeks, Margaret gets her full rate, $610 per week. Total for weeks 1 through 6 is $3,660. But for weeks 7 through 10, that's 4 weeks, something changes. Her pension supplement reduces to just $60.50 per fortnight, which is about $30 per week. Her weekly rate drops to approximately $603. So weeks 7 through 10, 4 weeks at $603 equals $2,410. Total received for the whole 10 weeks is $6,066. Now, if Margaret had stayed in Australia for those same 10 weeks, she would have received $6,095. That's a loss of $28. Not huge, but it's a warning sign. But scenario 3 is where it gets serious. Margaret decides to take an extended trip, 9 months overseas. Departure, March 1st, 2026. Return, December 1st, 2026. Days overseas, 275. Weeks overseas, 39. Now we have 3 stages to calculate. Stage 1, weeks 1 through 6. Full rate, $610 per week. Total, $3,660. Stage 2, weeks 7 through 26. That's 20 weeks. Reduced supplement rate is $603 per week. Total, $12,049. Stage 3, weeks 27 through 39. This is where it hits hard. At week 27, something major changes. Remember Margaret's Australian working life residence? 420 months out of 420 maximum. That's 100%. Because she has full residence, her base pension actually doesn't reduce in Stage 3. But if she had less than full residence, say she arrived in Australia at age 30, her base pension would be proportionally reduced. For Margaret, Stage 3 rate is still about $603 per week. 13 weeks times $603 equals $7,832. The total damage, total received overseas, is $23,538. If she stayed in Australia, $23,770, a loss of $232. Look at the dashboard in our calculator. It shows you at a glance. Short trip, 4 weeks. Total received, $2,438 versus staying, $2,438. Impact, $0. Mid-trip, 10 weeks. Total received $6,066 versus staying $6,095. Impact minus $28. Long trip, 39 weeks. Total received $23,538 versus staying $23,770. Impact minus $232. And here's the critical formula that catches people out, especially new migrants. Your Australian working life residence is the key to Stage 3. If you haven't lived in Australia for at least 35 months between age 16 and age pension age, your base pension gets proportionally reduced. Example, if you only have 210 months residence out of 420 maximum, your factor is 0.5. You only get half your base pension from week 27 onwards. I've built this calculator so you can plug in your own numbers. Change Margaret's details to match your situation. Your age, your Australian working life residence months, your travel dates. The formulas automatically adjust. Disclaimer and final advice. Important, this is general information only. Pension rules change. Budget announcements, new legislation, or individual circumstances can affect your payment. Always check with Centrelink or a qualified financial advisor before making travel plans. My advice, before you book that long overseas trip, do the math. A $230 loss over 9 months might be acceptable, but if you have less than full residence, that loss could be thousands. Download the calculator using the link in description. Put in your own numbers, and if you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got more videos coming on Centrelink rules, retirement planning, and how to keep more of your money. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video.